Welcome back to Old Folks Racing PlayStation. Welcome back to the Global Vintage Championship, which is being run with the 4 escorts. This is still round 3, race 2 at Willow Springs, and what a race we had in race 1. Plenty of excellent racing with the victory by Darren Head by very close margin. Second place man Diogo Silva almost getting there. Now it's race 2 and Darren Heads again on pole position, followed by Delphi Moura, followed by Jorge Jesus, Diogo Almeida, Cavalan, Scott Davely, Andrew Dalby, Jumbo, Gonçalo Mota and John Scott, with Peter Adrian in 11. Diogo Silva unfortunately has disconnected with internet problems for this second race, so he won't be able to attempt to get the win or another podium. And look at the start by Delphi Moura, what a start it was, and look at the top two, they're already checking out from pretty much everyone else. Into turn 1 goes Delphi Moura because he had the best start of the front row, followed by Darren Head, followed by Cavalan, and there's already a car there at the back spinning on his own. No one else was involved in it, and that's Jumbo that drops to 11th and will have to recover. He still has 14 laps to do that, but look at Darren Head now trying to take the lead from Delphi Moura here at Willow Springs, now in this very twitchy section. And this is a replay from Peter Adrian. Nice start. Wonder if that was a jump start. Doesn't seem to be the case. John Scott in that number 94, the yellow car, now sitting in 11th, and I think that Jumbo may have had some help there. Ooh, it was just pointing in the same, exactly the same spot as Peter Adrian. So let's have a look at. Oh no, Jumbo in fact collided, had contact with another car, and and two cars were involved in this. Peter Adrian and Jumbo, both of them, and I think Jumbo just had contact with another car and then completely came into Peter Adrian's pathway. Just a racing incident in turn 1. We continue the race. These two will have to recover and battle it out for 10th place possibly. They are 5 to 6 seconds behind John Scott, so maybe it's not all over for them. Look at Darren Head here on the outside. Tricky overtaking point here for Darren. This is a very bumpy section, as you can see the cars moving around, and Delphi Moura retains the lead on this first lap out of 14. Look at Cavalan there, good start. He's in 3rd place, followed by Jorge Jesus in 4th. Jorge was third in race 1, and this is Andrew Dalby going around Diogo Almeida. Diogo Almeida had a bit of a moment there in the chicane. Now it's absolutely flat out as Gonçalo Mota also going around Diogo. Diogo drops down to 8th place. Let's have a look at what happened here, and I think he just lost it. I don't think there was contact with Andrew Dalby. I was not entirely sure from that replay, but Diogo just seems to have lost it there, and basically loses a couple of positions, loses a position to Andrew Dalby. Scott Davely up into 6th place, and 7th now is Gonçalo Mota, with the Diogo Almeida dropping to 8th, followed by John Scott, followed by the two drivers that collided in the first turn. That's Peter Adrian in 10th and Jumbo in 11th, as Delphi Moura is going to lead the opening lap of this race, and Jorge Jesus is very interested in battling it out for that podium with Cavalan. Let's see if he can put that 4 escort in the inside of the Yorkshire driver into turn 1. He's certainly going for it. Yes, he's going for it, and Kev sees him, gives him space, and nicely done there by Jorge Jesus. But did it complete the pass? I'm not sure he did. He did complete the pass. Nice move there. They did lose a little bit of time to the two leaders, so let's see the pace of Jorge and Kev after. That's race with the Delphi Moura that went to the gravel there, almost losing it. This is a tricky set of corners here, very bumpy. That number 44 continues to chase Delphi Moura, who continues to lead this race. Lap 2 out of 14. Let's have a look at the drivers that were delayed, and they're more or less, the gap is 7-8 seconds to John Scott, so not sure that's going to work for Peter Adrian and Jumbo to recover and rejoin the pack. Jumbo in fact has And he's rally crossing his way in quite a big way there. Ends up losing even more time. I think it was again on his own. So no incident. Lap 2. Now look at that exit that Darren had got out of the last corner. This is quite good. And potentially he can make a move into turn 1 here in the start of lap number 3. But Delphi Moore is having none of it and shuts the door. Continues to lead with that number 20. But look at this. Darren is increasingly putting pressure there. And I wonder how much time is it going to be before Darren takes the lead of this race. Look at George Jesus doing a good job there, getting very close to the 2 leaders. As we are now on lap 3, we have a lap time of around 1.5 minutes. So 14 laps will give us more or less 20 minutes to get off more. Again, very twitchy, that 4 Escort going through that section. And now Delphine just seems to be overdriving a little bit. He is on the limit. He's exiting, using as much track as possible on the exit and more. So we shall see if he will continue not to make any mistakes. 5th place man Andrew Dalby is under severe pressure from Scott Devley and the severe pressure from Gonçalo Mota as well. And someone has stopped the car there, and that was... I can't see who that was. Let's have a look at what happened here with race leader Delphi Mora and Darren Head. Delphi Mora, ooh, again he's on the limit, and this time around he just lost the car. So change for the lead here, and it was Delphi Mora, the driver, that we saw there. Let's see how much time he lost, or how many positions he lost, more importantly. He just loses it there, tries to correct. Now he's a complete passenger and he's trying not to spin, but he does spin, and he's going to try the reset button. Nicely done there, as Scott Devley was attempting a move around Andrew Dalby, so I'm surprised that the reset button actually worked there. But look at this, 8th, 7th, 8th, he's 9th. Delphi Mora is in 9th place, only ahead of Peter Adrian and Jambo, as now we are already on lap 4 of this race. Well, we seem to be on lap 3 again. This is battle over. This is to see what happened to Diogo Almeida. Diogo Almeida lost a bit more time there by just rally crossing his way through turn 2, and now rally crossing even more. So not the race that Diogo Almeida wanted, and he's now under pressure from John Scott. Battle for 8th place there, 8th and 9th. But very soon they are going to both go through. Oh, look at Diogo Almeida. He seems to have some sort of problem, because it's the 3rd off-road excursion that he has in as many corners. Now, where is Delphi Mora, and where are these two going to be? Are they going to be ahead of Delphi or not? And the answer is we don't know, because Delphi is stopped there, and I think they are both going to pass him. Yes, so Delphi Mora down into 9th place. Look at these drivers here. Scott Devley now on the inside of Andrew Dalby in the last corner. This could get tricky, as he now runs on the inside, and he should be able to complete the passes down. Oh, look at it. Wow. Andrew Dalby, what a save. But wow, this is incredible. Look at from Gonçalo Mota's perspective, Andrew Dalby, he was under pressure. Scott Devley is on the inside. Andrew Dalby is going to keep his foot down, but unfortunately he's going to run out of road. Maybe Scott Devley did touch him. No. Did they touch? They did not touch. Andrew Dalby now is a bit out of shape, drifts his way through the corner, almost collects Gonçalo Mota, who has to take evasive action and a quick use of the brake pedal. And now Gonçalo did lose quite a lot of momentum, so Andrew Dalby loses a position and almost loses more. But let's keep an eye on that battle there on the midfield, as Darren Head is now under pressure from Jorge Jesus, and Kev Allen sits now in 3rd. Scott Davely is up into 4th place with that move on Andrew Dalby. That's because they also overtook Delphi Mora during that moment as Delphi was stopped on the track. 5th is Gonçalo Mota, 6th is Andrew Dalby. So Andrew Dalby did lose a position to Gonçalo Mota. We haven't seen what happened there. 7th is John Scott, 8th is Diogo Almeida, 9th logically would be Delphi Mora, and this is the battle for the lead here. Is getting quite interesting as George Zouche tries to go on the outside. I was trying to check if Delphi Mora was still in ninth place. He is. Now, normally what happens here is that the driver on the outside is going to run out of room at some point, and George Zouche knows that, and so he's trying to avoid it and trying to use the final corner as a way to get even closer to Darren Head. Didn't really work out because he made a mistake there, run too wide on the exit, and now Darren Head has a bit of breathing space as he completes lap number 4. We are on lap number 5 out of 14, approaching the second third of this race. Diogo Almeida is here in 8th spot. He did not have the race so far that he wanted. A couple of mistakes and a couple of off-road excursions delaying him, but now he can actually see 5th place man Gonçalo Mota on his radar. Then 6th is Andrew Dalby, 7th is John Scott, and Diogo Almeida does have the pace, but he also has a recovering Delphi Mora behind him. So this is going to be fascinating because Delphi has shown such good pace with this car on this track, and we certainly expect a very sparky battle here in the coming laps, as John Scott is now putting pressure on Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby is not going in the right direction in this race. He's just following backwards. He lost a position to Scott Davely, then to Gonçalo Mota. Now he's under pressure from Scott Davely. So let's keep an eye on this midfield battle. Now at the front we have 0.8 of a second between Darren Head and George Zouche, as we see John Scott approaching Andrew Dalby. Andrew trying to, oh, and look at that, he's drifting. Oh, that's a pretty optimistic move there on the Diogo Almeida was on the inside of John Scott. A bit of pushing and shoving there, slightly opportunistic. Diogo Almeida on the inside when John Scott was running the inside line himself, and oh, look at that, that was a bit late. John Scott did not spin. Multiple contacts there between the two drivers, and look who's coming. That's Delphi Mora, and trying to do a 2-in-1, and now on the outside of turn 1 and up into 7th. He was in 9th. He did overtake John Scott and also Diogo Almeida. Plenty of action, plenty of pushing and shoving, plenty of argy-bargy with this car is possible. That's what to expect in saloon car racing like this Escort. Let's see more action. We have Kev Allen getting very close to George Zouche. We are on lap 6 now, and George was a bit out of shape there in turn 1. I wonder if Kev Allen found the opportunity to go around him. Ooh, he seems to be running wide, and he seems to be now almost going up the mountain, but he's losing an enormous amount of time. And not a good move there by Kev Allen, because that was never going to be an overtaking move, and surely that was a way to lose an enormous amount of time. Scott Davely is a driver that is now behind Kev, and Kev, from attacking second place, is now trying to defend third. Look at Delphi Mora on Andrew Dalby. This is the very twitchy and bumpy part of the circuit. Diogo Almeida is there trying to take advantage of that battle as well. And in the front of this field we have Gonçalo Mota in 5th place. Look at, ooh, and almost losing it there again, almost losing it, Delphi Mora. Now he's going to come under pressure from Diogo Almeida. Nice battle here for 5th place ultimately, as now let's see what Diogo Almeida can do. He certainly showed in the previous lap that he can come from way back and try to overtake in this corner. Not in this particular lap, as he's trying to get closer to Delphi Mora and maybe make a move on the start-finish line. We are on lap 7 already, so we are approaching the midpoint of this race, and Diogo Almeida is continuing to put pressure on Delphi Mora. Battle for 7th. By the way, Andrew Dalby has actually recovered some ground, because Gonçalo Mota seems to be struggling a little bit at this point. He did not Well, his lap was still good, 1:29.640, but half a second slower than Andrew Dalby, with other cars also now going nose to tail with Gonçalo, Andrew Dalby, Delphi Moura and Diogo Almeida all nose to tail. John Scott has lost time. We haven't seen what happened to John Scott. The yellow car is no longer part of this pack. He has lost 8 seconds. He's done a very slow lap, 1:37.699. And the two drivers at the back are also running slower laps, 1:32.9 for Peter Adrian, 1:33.6 for Jumbo. So it seems to me that we've got two drivers battling it out for the win. Then we've got a group that includes Kev Allen and Scott Davely. Then we've got this very lively group of multiple cars. Then John Scott running on his own, and the last two drivers also running on their own with not much opportunity to rejoin the pack. But look at this. Something is about to happen here as Diogo Almeida is trying to make a move, as Delphi Moura makes his move as well on Andrew Dalby on the outside of turn 1. This is going to be a 3 wide potentially, as Diogo Almeida is going to come in 3 wide into turn 1. They will not do the corner like this, and of course there is already contact between Andrew Dalby and Diogo Almeida, but Diogo Almeida somehow... Oh! Delphi Moura is the driver that got the worst out of this, as did he get hit or not? Sort of. He just a combination of running out of space and the car just flipping to the other side. So Delphi Moura not, again, very unlucky in this incident, as he was the driver that got the worst out of all the three drivers involved. And by the way, Diogo Almeida has actually overtaken both drivers and has gone up into 6th place. That now, and now is in contact with Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby was trying to go there on the outside, a little bit tricky to make any sort of overtake here. So Diogo Almeida up 2 places now, and going after Gonçalo Mota. He has, well, he's only a second and a half behind Gonçalo, so we should have a battle there for 5th. This is the front of the field. Darren Head continues to lead. He led every lap in race 1, not by much, but he did lead every lap, and now he's led all the laps in race 2, all 8 of them. Now 6 laps to go at the line, with Kev Allen still followed by Scott Davely 3rd and 4th. Gonçalo Mota and Diogo Almeida complete the top 6. Then it's Andrew Dalby. Delphi Moura has lost an enormous amount of time with that turn 1 incident. He is 7 seconds behind Andrew Dalby, so I'm not sure this is really going to work for him in terms of a finish, a good finish here. John Scott running 9th, Peter Agent 10th, and Jumbo in 11th, as actually Delphi Moura is hardly in front of John Scott. He did retain that 8th position, but just Peter Adrian running 10th, and he is 17 seconds ahead of Jumbo. Jumbo seems to be struggling a little bit with this car track combination, only joining race 2 in this round 3 out of 5 in this Global Vintage Championship. And Darren Head continues to lead the race, now lap 9 out of 14. Still a battle at the front, and Jorge Jesus on board with him with that 4 Escort, and he is going after Darren Head. Look at this, he's getting closer now at the end of lap 9. No mistakes allowed by either of these drivers, and Jorge Jesus seems to be getting closer to Darren Head on the start-finish line, but still a little bit too far behind, not close enough to make a move into turn 1. Maybe he's going to be able to make a move into turn 2 if he gets a good exit here, and he seems to be faster than Darren. Darren sliding a little bit, but again George is just a little bit too far behind to make that move work. Now through this very long turn 2 and into a heavy braking point in the next corner that starts that very bumpy section, which is the second sector here of the Willow Springs circuit. There they are. Darren Head beautifully mastering that sector. Now this corner is a very tricky corner as well. On the exit need to be careful. Then through this chicane, which also requires quite a lot of skill to approach. and now it's basically flat out until the last corner. But look at this, George Jesus seems to have had a better exit with a bit of drafting that shouldn't really exist with this car, but it does exist in the simulation. It seems to me that George Jesus is in a prime position to make a move here. Prime position to make a move here. Can he do it? Darren Head already going defensive on the inside. The outside probably won't work here for George Jesus. The outside here, you just ran out of track. Not advisable to run out of track, and now they complete another lap, and Darren Head seems to be struggling a little bit. Lap 10, sorry, is completed now. 4 laps to go, so 6 minutes more, and we'll have race 2 winner. And in third place is still Kev Allen. Scott Davely in fourth spot. And look at George Jesus, he's just trying to find where can he make a move through turn 2. They go into the braking zone. He's too far behind to make a move here, so he's probably getting the closest to Darren in the last corner. So let's see if he can get some good moves here in this section to try to stay as close as possible, and then try to exit. This chicane here is absolutely critical, and it seems to me that Darren had slid a little bit, but George also made a small mistake. Nevertheless, he seems to have well, he seems to be closer. Let's keep an eye on that battle. Scott Davely on Kev Allen, and what is going to happen here is that when Kev Allen just zigged when he should have zagged, I think it was definitely on his own, and it was just hitting a bump there. Yeah, there you go, hits the bump and crashes into the wall. Reset button is allowed in All Fox Racing PlayStation. He does lose 4th position, so this is quite significant. Kev Allen lost a lot of time. Up into 4th goes Gonçalo Mota. Down into 5th goes Kev Allen. Where is Diogo Almeida? He's 4 seconds behind with still 3 laps to go at the line. Now look at Josh Jesus in the last corner. He's very close to there, and he just can't find a way through. He's trying to force Darren into making some sort of mistake, but Darren then has been consistently faster than George in the last corner, which gives him some breathing space right now into turns 1 and 2. Now John Scott on Peter Adrian. Peter Adrian has overtaken John Scott. John Scott now trying to recover that position, and they're going side by side in the fastest section of the track. They're both running, well, this is battle for 9th spot, with Jumbo running in 11th behind them. Last car on the road here. Leader is already on lap 12. The gap continues to be just under half a second, and Peter Adrian trying to maintain that 9th place after that turn 1 incident, and almost losing it there in the last corner as John Scott tries to get closer. He's still way behind to make a move here, but well, they still have 3 laps to go. I suspect this battle won't finish until the checkered flag. We'll keep an eye. Ooh, look at the gap at the front. It's just under 0.2 of a second, so surely some action must be happening as John Scott is trying to put pressure on Peter Adrian. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. 1/10 of a second battle for the lead here. And now, nice move there by John Scott, trying to go on the inside of Peter Adrian, and it seems to me that he's got better pace. He just needs to find a way to overtake Peter, which is of course not going to be easy. These cars are very close to one another, and not very easy to outbrake another driver, especially in this circuit here at Blue Springs. But look at John Scott, he's got a good exit there out of the chicane. Now it's possibly now or never, and Peter Adrian is trying to squeeze him a little bit. Peter Adrian trying to defend his position now. Is he going to go defensive on the inside of the last corner or not, is the question, and the answer is, well, he's probably running a normal line, so he keeps that 9th position for now. Kev Allen trying to recover a bit of ground there as he is trying to get fourth place back from Gonçalo Mota. Scott Davely is in a podium position, which is a great result for the American here at home. Lap 13 out of 14, and it seems to me that Darren Head got some breathing space now, half a second ahead of Jorge Jesus, but still a couple of laps to go. And look at this is Peter Adrian and John Scott again at it in turn 2. Peter Adrian is saying is having none of it and just shuts the door on John. Nice to see battles through the field, as we like to see in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. Let's go back to the battle for fourth spot. Sorry, Gonçalo Mota and Kev Allen, and we are already on lap 13 out of 14. And the leader, Darren Head, has started his last lap. He's going for full points in this round. 2 victories if he can continue. Oh, look at this. This is... Oh, Kev Allen lost it in the last corner. Now he's rally crossing that car. He was lucky not to enter the pits. But definitely that's the end of the battle for fourth place. Gonçalo Mota just needs to... basically not make mistakes. 1.5 more laps to go, as now these guys enter their last lap with John Scott still behind Peter Adrian, and Peter got a bit of breathing space there. Darren had a few more corners to go, and it's going to be 2 victories on the same weekend. Now he's got a bit of breathing space. 4/10 of a second is just a little bit too much of a gap for Jorge Jesus to just dive bomb in the last corner, although you never know. He's getting closer for sure. He's getting closer. This may still not be over here at Willow Springs. That number 48 is trying to get the lead, but Darren Head is having none of it, and he's going, oh, again, it's going to be a bit of a photo finish, as now they go through the last corner. That race 1 was just a few thousandths of a second. Race 2, it's Darren Head again, this time, well, 0.3 of a second at the end. Jorge Jesus completes another race on the podium in second place. That number 52 of Scott Davely is going to finish in third spot. Fourth spot is going to be Gonçalo Mota, with Kev Allen completing the top 5, and Kev Allen is going to be disappointed by missing a podium, and he was certainly in a very good position to get a podium. Ends up in 5th place. 6th place is Diogo Almeida. 7th place is Andrew Dalby. And look at this, Andrew Dalby and Delphi Moura, who is going to be... It is Delphi Moura in 7th place. Nicely done there at the end. Delphi Moura recovering 1 position. At least this is the replay of how it happened. They are about to approach the last corner of this race, the last corner of lap 14, and Andrew Dalby, he's a little bit too hot there. He's missed the racing line, he's missed the apex of the corner, and Delphi Moura just says thank you very much, and I'll have that 7th position, and he crosses the line comfortably in 7th, followed by Andrew Dalby in 8th. 9th is going to be Peter Adrian, if he manages to still get the position from John Scott. Yes, nice battle here between these guys. Top 10 for John Scott, and in 11th place is going to be Jumbo, still running at the finish. Everyone finished on the lead lap. Every driver that started completed the race, and it was another victory for Darren Head, followed by Jorge Jesus and Scott Davely. This completes coverage of round 3. We shall see you in round 4.